So it was a bit rough getting in here. Probably that just the last couple, kilometre or so was rough getting in here with all the rain we've had lately. It's flooded the track coming in here. About 4 puddles, 4 big ones. The first 3 were medium sized. They were pretty easy to get through. Got covered in mud anyway, and it's the last one, which I think was like a flooded creek. This is the spot that I wanted to. This is the Gairdner River, and as you can see, it's got a shitload of water in it. Can't wait to get the kayak out and go and explore. The reason I wanted to come to this spot is it just looked really interesting on Google Maps. Like you can see there's like bluffs. Oh, get my finger away. You can see the bluffs that go around here. So I thought this would be the most interesting spot to camp along the river. And it's sheltered from the wind, so I'm not going to get the problems I got like I did last time when I went out to that joint near Cape Breach. You can see the car is covered in a little bit of mud on that side. It's more on the other side. The camp is effectively set up now. Just got to fix up that awning up there. Everything's in place. The only issue, well, one is getting out of here, because of course the road was a bit flooded coming in, and it was that last sort of creek crossing that gave the ute a bit of trouble getting through. But the only other issue is there's like a bull ant's nest just over there. So let's hope they stay over there and I stay over here. I really didn't want to keep going along the track because I know that it turns into kind of like a mud flat when you go further around, and I didn't think it would be any good camping there. So yep, this is it. The Gairdner River is located on the south coast of Western Australia, about 18 kilometres northeast of the town of Bremer Bay via the Gordon Inlet Road. The river starts up in the Great Southern Hinterland around the town of Jirramunga and flows southeast for around 130 kilometres or 81 miles before it feeds into a large estuary called the Gordon Inlet. When decent rains have fallen into the river's catchment and flow into the estuary, the water level can be high enough to finally breach the sandbar at its mouth and stream out into the Southern Ocean. In 1848, an expedition party led by John Septimus Roe came across the Gairdner River and noted the local indigenous tribe, the Wajari people, referred to the river as the Jirramunga. However, later on in the expedition, when near the mouth of the river and without realising it was still the Jirramunga, he named it the Gairdner River and the estuary the Gordon Inlet in honour of Gordon Gairdner, who was a senior clerk in the Colonial Office, a government department way back in England. Anyways, out where I went camping for this trip, the river is mostly within the world-famous Fitzgerald River National Park. The landscape out there is remote and pristine, and you can't help but be immersed in the untouched beauty of nature. Okay, this is by far the best place I've ever camped at. As you can see, there's my campsite right there. Okay, I've had to abandon my plan of getting to the mouth of the river. I'm kind of where the Gairdner River meets the Gordon Inlet, which is just behind me. It's only about 1 to 2 feet deep here, and it's really sharp rocks. So I've already kind of run aground twice. I thought that's because I was too close to the rocks on one side of the river, so I've sort of gone out into the middle. And even sticking the oars down now, I'm still only probably 1 to 2 feet deep, and it's rock. So I'm just not gonna try and push it through. If it was sand, it looked like it was sand from the drone, like a sandy riverbed, but it's rock down here. Yeah, so sadly I'll have to head back to camp. It's getting dark anyway, and tomorrow I'll try and go upriver because it seems the river is better for paddling further up. Well, this camping spot's an absolute ripper. This is definitely somewhere I'll come back. I'll try again to get to the river mouth tomorrow. I think if I went further over to where the sandbank was, it's probably better to paddle, to kayak through, because there's no rocks. I'll try again tomorrow, but for now I've got the fire lit, and it's just great to enjoy the colours with a bit of last light around, and cook up some dinner pretty soon. But this spot on the Gairdner River, this is mint. I got this order myself. Just a little shower going through at the moment. I guess you got to expect this when you're on the south coast. There's meant to be some highs pushing through from the south over the next couple of days, so you know, I expect that the weather will be a bit better tomorrow. But the Bureau of Meteorology did say that if there was any showers, it would be along the south coast. Oh well, I got my paddle in. Now I've got to cook dinner and try and keep the fire going. Well, it was one hell of a damp night. It rained off and on a fair bit, but it was actually quite enjoyable. I got a good night's sleep, compared to the last camping trip where my tent was nearly getting blown away. This was pretty good. No wind at all, just the occasional little shower, and I was nice and warm up there, nice and dry and warm. So it's a bit damp out here this morning. Just been flying the drone around, just waiting for the sun to come over the ridge and warm us up a little bit here. Hopefully it's going to stay sunny like this all day. Come on, sunshine. It's just getting colder here. Come on, we need that sun to come up. Well, I've had to resort to the jacket and boots and warm socks. It's just too bloody cold. The sun's only just coming up now. Oh, freezing. Anyway, I've made a little clothesline over there to get my clothes from yesterday dry, because even though I had them inside the tent last night, which was the only dry spot, they're still a bit cold and damp. Anyway, it's just good to finally have a bit of sunshine around here now. This is a great campsite. I'm too scared to get in the kayak and go for a kayak. It's that bloody cold. I just don't want to get any water on it. It's freezing. I'll just wait till it warms up a little bit, but it's perfect right now. I'll swing her at it's just like a mill pond, and it's been like this all morning, so it'd be perfect for kayaking right now, because yesterday there was a little bit of wind around, and I was battling against the wind trying to get back here. But it's pretty amazing how I got this order myself. Oh, by the way, my little channel that I dug here, you know, like, it's something that you get taught when you're a kid and you go camping. You know, you always dig the channel around your tent, and because I knew we were going to get plenty of rain, well, some rain, and you could see how the water had been rushing down the hill here, down there. So I thought I'd just dig that, and if I do get a decent downpour, at least I don't get flooded. So I've gone upriver this time, and it is, you know, a majestic, beautiful river, but it's hard to really enjoy it because it's like being the captain of the Titanic on this river. You've got jagged rocks that are only, you know, 1 foot to half a foot below the surface of the water, so you've got to keep an eye out when you're paddling along looking for these rocks. I think I'm in a bit of a deep spot at the moment, which is probably only, you know, 1 metre or 2 metres deep, but I'm enjoying it. I'm a fair way up the river. I'm about 1 kilometre up the river, I think, now. Well, I've gone as far up the river as I'd like to go. I've still got my paddle, and just getting out, stretching my legs for a bit before I turn around and battle against the wind going that way. It's like the wind's decided to change direction, you know, after battling against the wind all the way to here. Now it's turned around the other way, so just my luck. Yeah, if I stopped anywhere in the river, I was just getting blown back 20-30 metres in the space of a few seconds. That's how quick it was. It's a beautiful river. Like, once I got out of the shallow bit where all the rocks were, it's been pretty easy to keep a bit of speed up as I've been paddling. There's no rocks or anything. There's some rocks on the other side, but I've been staying away from that side of the river. It's one beautiful river. So yeah, I've just really enjoyed coming out to this spot on the Gairdner River. Like I said, I'd come back here again, but there's always another place to try out. It was pretty easy getting in here. It was obviously, like I've said, it was just that last probably kilometre or so where the puddles were, so if there hasn't been like rain in the last week or so, then you should be right to get in here. There's plenty of little spots off to the side of the track here that, you know, around there you go. So like, there's plenty of spots you can see where people have camped before along this track. So there's not like one spot, there's many, about probably at least six spots along here. But you know, I think I've picked the best one. I wanted to have a spot that had the view of the bluffs. Got ants on my feet. Like the breakaway bluffs that are along the river there. So yeah, that's the one thing with this place. It's got like ant nests everywhere. So yep. Mosquitoes, there was a couple of mosquitoes. You'd think there'd be a lot more with the amount of water that's around. So mozzies aren't too much of an issue. I did have my citronella candle going last night until I went to sleep, so that probably helped. Midgies, yeah, there's a fair few midgies around, but you know, it's a pretty top-notch spot. When I went for my expedition up the river this morning, there's some really amazing scenery up there. Again, there's like more cliffs along the river, and you just think, you know, if this was anywhere else in the world, there'd be tours going up the river or something. Okay, it's a bit of a shallow river, but you know, like up around Kalbarri, you can hire a canoe or a kayak or whatever, and you can go down the river through the gorge. And this is a pretty spectacular river. But yeah, just there's a lot of places in WA that it's almost like they're kept secret. I remember when I was working up north doing the survey, and there's a it's like an ancient barrier reef that was underwater 300 million years ago. And it's just out there in the desert. Well, it's cattle station country, but it's out there, and we were flying over it, surveying it, and it was absolutely amazing, the scenery. If it had been anywhere else in the world, it would be one of the top tourism draw cards of that country. And yet it remains largely unknown by anyone besides the local indigenous people, cattle station folk, people like myself who, you know, have worked out there. So even though I've got a 3.5 kVA generator at home, it's a bit too heavy to bring out in camping trips. So with my deep cycle battery in the back of the ute, that's actually hooked up to the car batteries. So when I'm running the oven, I do run the engine. I generally only use the oven when I'm driving somewhere, otherwise it'll just chew the battery up too quickly. So the battery, the car is running at the moment, acting as a generator, charging the battery up, but also I've got the oven running with, I'm hoping I get a fresh loaf of bread. I've brought the ingredients to make bread this time, so it'll be, I'm hoping like an Italian loaf, maybe a damper, that sort of thing. So got bitten by an ant then. So we'll see how it goes. I could see this on Google Maps, but I just, you can tell there's a bluff, a breakaway, but you can't tell how beautiful it's going to be until you're actually here. And this is just, it's just amazing. You can see this is another one of these amazing spots to camp by the river. It's probably an even better spot, view-wise than what I have. But it is a bit of a smaller spot, and I think even with my ute set up, with the 2 awnings and the rooftop tent set up, I'd be battling to fit it all in. I'd have to park with the ute probably out here a bit. But if you had a camper trailer, this would be a magnificent spot. I reckon I'm better off with a camp oven. Well, the bread's actually not that bad. It's cooked on the other, or kind of crusty on the bottom side, so it's not such a disaster. It's going good with the cream cheese and some anchovies, so yeah, I'm happy. And so the sun sets on my last night camping on the Gairdner River. Yeah, I reckon I'm coming back here. So on this trip I brought along my chainsaw. I haven't taken it on other trips because, obviously we have fire season here in Western Australia, and this has been the first time I've been able to have a fire, as you can see. So I thought I'd give it a go. It does the job around the house, if I've got to cut like a branch off a tree that's got to go for some reason. But out here, like, it was running off the inverter. I had the engine of the 4-wheel drive going, and the inverter is 1500 watts, so it does run it even though it says 1900. But it had a hard time cutting through wood out here. It would, if you pushed a little bit too hard, it would just turn off. And I think that's obviously like a safety mechanism inside the chainsaw, that if it's gonna like overheat or something, it just switches off for a bit. So as you can see, it was just wood that thick, and it was having a hard time with that. I wouldn't know what type of tree this is. I wouldn't have a clue. Like I said, it had trouble cutting through this, and that's why I only got small bits off it and then gave up. And so I ended up just finding sort of, you know, nice size bits of wood like that laying around on the ground, and obviously the chainsaw had no issues with cutting wood that size up. And so obviously with the few big chunky pieces, like you can see this bit here, a few big chunky pieces, and then obviously all the small bits, the fire did quite well last night. Anyway, my last morning here, I'll go and make myself something to eat for breakfast, and then I'll have to start packing up. Alright, well that's me packed up, ready to go. Got up about 7 this morning, had a sleep in, and just sort of potted around for about half an hour to an hour. So it only took 2 hours to pack everything up properly as well. Yeah, so this is Gairdner River. I like it, and I think I'll definitely be back here, and I think I'll bring some other people with me next time to enjoy it too. Alright, now I've got to get out of here. Now it's all smooth sailing. Alright everyone, I'll catch you later.